Number 2. We're live. We're live again.
We're live. It's alive. Yeah.
Hi. Okay. I don't know. I guess
Hi.
it was kind of a normal sort of meditation. It seemed shorter for me.
Yeah.
I was a little concerned that I was ending it too soon, but I sort of lost track of time, so...
No. I don't know when. I have no idea. I lost all track of time. Completely. So, here we are. Hi, here we are.
Me?
So, you go.
Okay, because I have to kind of apologize. I probably could have had stellar meditation, but and lots to talk about it. I was just too tired tonight. I was too tired to. You don't want to be really tired when you're doing these meditations. I mean, certainly the middle pillar is energizing to some extent, but if you're very tired, it's hard to counteract that. I think I was almost dozing off rather than having a lucid, attentive to my meditation experience. So I did, however, get a number of things. I thought I should have brought in their other kind of dragon skull for this. But I didn't. Oh shucks.
Oh well.
Next time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like there was an entryway, like I was walking along a path, but I'm not sure where I went. It was funny. It was like it's like I was falling asleep, or I was having almost like dream imagery rather than step by step, this then that. It was like I wasn't in a sequential experience. I was in just kind of a space that wasn't, where I lost track of time, and where, of course, you lose track of time if you're not having a linear experience, and I wasn't having a linear experience. So that's, I guess, why I lost track of time. I do recall some things now that I don't know how they have to do with this path much, but maybe it's more a direct experience thing than kind of a teaching. And the pyramids, and it almost seems as though I was on a river, or I could see a river going through like a dry, arid area, a lush river going through a dry area, but there was like buildings, and it was like a civilized area. It wasn't ancient. Of course, they say things could have been pretty civilized in really ancient times as well, more than we know, and more technology than we recognize today. But as to what time frame it was, whether I was looking at a Viking cruise ship down the river, or whether it was all metaphor, I don't know. A metaphor for what I'm not sure, but it was certainly this river through this arid area. Oh, that was not nature. There was like civilization around. And near the end, there was this, like, the pyramid, like, of course, this, the idea of the pyramids, and of course the pyramids are tombs, or we think they're tombs. Of course, there's a lot of, certainly not academically recognized, but there's a lot of conjecture about what other purposes those pyramids could have as a sort of as a technology. You know, are they star maps? Are they energy creators? Are they, maybe they have other purposes? And I got this idea that, you know, it sounds a bit flaky, but that they would be, they're going to be transformed, they would be energized somehow. And we would have more to know about them in the future. And so that's what I have for us now. That's about all I have to relate. So as far as going in meditation and learning about the path, I don't know if I did that this time. It was more like an experience of an inner experience that is, you know, when they say in death you lose. I was listening, I think today, in a little podcast or something about this idea that I've been reading lately this week too, and reading the new Lee Strieber book, and why that the ego fears death. Egos fear death. Ego is concerned that death is its end, or certainly at least if not the end of the ego, or the id, the Freudian id, the kind of idea of self, what I view as myself, that in death, that death is a transition into a timelessness, into a no longer being kind of stuck in linear time, and causality. Thank you, causality. Which is how we perceive the world when we're stuck in time. Is one thing leads to another.
Right.
However, it's what we learn is that perception, one thing leads to another, is more a limitation of our perceptions rather than the reality of the situation.
Right.
The reality on another level, not stuck in this ego body, stuck in time, stuck in 3D, is that it's all the moment. It's all the moment. And that it's not about that linear time. So, however, when the ego is forced to experience some being a little unstuck in 3D, it freaks out. Because, you know, it's all, the ego mind that's what it's all about. It's all riding on its power, its control is because of our limitations. And when the bonds of limitations are loosened, which is what death maybe is about, maybe I'm finally getting some learning out of this now, is that the death card is about loosening those bonds with physicality. And physicality is what's stuck in time. There's the 3D stuck in time.
Yeah.
Because the fourth dimension, is time. And mathematically, if you think of one axis and the other axis, like you have your X's and Y's, if anybody remembers that from grade 8. You got your X, you got your Y, you got your X. And but that's one dimension, two dimensions. So 3 dimensions is the fourth bar, the third bar, 1 bar, 2 bars, the third bar kind of through the heart of those two, 1, 2, 3, like
Right. I got it.
okay, so that's 3 dimensions, and we're in a 3-dimensional world. But all the while, our 3 dimensions, our little jacks of 3 sticks, is moving through time. So time is the 4th dimension.
Okay.
And that's why they call it, in a kind of new agey lingo, they talk about going into 5th dimensional being, 5th dimension.
Which is?
So somehow, well, which is what exactly? Which is what? You know, so you got 1 right angle, 2 to 1. The point is 1 dimension. 2 dimension is 2 points. No, 2 lines. 2 dimensions like a sheet of paper that's infinitely thin. 2 dimensions. 1 dimension the point, 2 or a line. Let's go 1 dimension a line, 2 dimension your piece of paper, 3 dimensions your block of wood, square. So we live in a 3-dimensional world moving through time. That's the 4th dimension. So what's the 5th dimension? Somehow it's like as in the line to the other line to the square. Somehow it is at right angles to that. At another angle coming off, going through another line, going through another angle, rather another perpendicular somehow to 4 dimensions. I can't describe it any better than that. It's a mathematical concept. It's not something, however, in consciousness, what is that 5th dimension? And
it's a suspension of time.
Suspension of time, or beyond, not, so you have 3D stuck in time to the 5th dimension, which is somehow above or beyond time. But the trick here is that does not necessarily mean some sort of infinity. Well, it can be sort of an infinity with no time, but it is more the idea of it's coming into the singularity. That 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 3 dimensions moving through time. It's all diversity. It's all about spreading, expanding, extending. You got 1 dimension going on forever. You got another dimension going on forever. You got time going on, hopefully forever. Or as I was discussing in some discussion, the days and nights of Brahman. They say the Big Bang started it all, right? Big Bang. But then they say, well, some of the ends of the universe, when we look through whatever telescopes or whatever measurements they can say, that, you know, yes, the universe is expanding, but some places further in the distance in time, it seems to be contracting. Is it expanding or is it contracting? Well, in the Hindi system, they have these days in the in and out breath of Brahma. And I was looking it up, and these Brahma cycles are like 31 quintillion years. In like the Upanishads and stuff, they're talking about galactic cycles that are billions upon billions of years, and that's just a cycle. So, I mean, you can get, you know, so you're getting into talking about infinity, and on an infinity level of quintillion billions of years, that there's this not one big bang boom, but that there's this flux and reflux, this in and out breath of all creation. So the thing is, what I'm trying to, now that we're totally out there, the idea here is that the fifth dimension, as we rise in awareness, is at the same time, it is this expansionness into a perspective spanning quintillions of years, but it is also, it's finding the unity. The fifth, sixth, higher dimensions are about the unity. Kether is the point of awareness, of God's awareness. So you think that whatever dimension that's going to turn out to be, the 11th, I don't know, dimension, at the higher dimensions, you've got a singularity. So this idea that from the fourth dimension of 3 dimensions moving through time, when you start moving beyond the fourth dimension, you get into an awareness which is unifying. The I am. You get to the fourth dimension, the third dimension, and then the fourth dimension is spreading the third dimension all over the place through time. But then to go even in higher, say to the fifth, sixth dimensional awareness, you're talking about kind of tying it all together. Mm-hmm. That point of unity. And so with this meditation, in this path, we're on that unity of the heart, or that Christ consciousness where it ties all humanity together into one awareness.
Right, and that's the message of the death card.
Is that equality.
Is that equality, that
level playing field.
That's why they give the image of the skeleton, because we all are all the same.
We're all the same underneath.
Underneath, yeah.
And to create this idea of unity. Is that, and so in the heart chakra, that's compassion. So this is the path between Venus, personal love, which I probably should have mentioned earlier.
And victory.
It's called victory, it's called many things, but it's love, it's personal love. It's love with Venus is love. Venus is beauty. Venus is love, even though Tiferet is called beauty. Let's not divide hairs, but in mythology, the goddess Venus is super sexy and powerful, but it's about that personal love of that passion about. And what is passion about? Passion is very selfish. Passion, Venus love is the Venus love is like, what's in it for me? Or I want to love you because it feels good to me, even if it's generous love, right? As a characteristic of that person has generous love, but it's nonetheless, it's about a reciprocal arrangement. You let me love you, you love me, we make a deal, let's make a deal. What's in it for me? What's in it for you? Relationship, love. But then when you talk about Dalai Lama love and Christ love, it's not about, it's unconditional. So conditional love, this is the path between conditional love and unconditional love. So where the love exists just because that's what the world is made of, because that's what you feel, because it's coming out and through me, because it's something I give, not something I need to receive. So this says that's that transformation between passion, conditional love, and unconditional love. That's finding the unity. That there was some measure of unity between two individuals in Venus conditional love. As we see in like the traditional Two of Cups card, between the two, there is the third created, which is that love that can fly or exalt.
Right.
Where does exalt to? It exalts to unconditional love. and a recognition of love coming through.
Right.
For the Two of Cups.
No.
Okay, good. So anyway, the actual meditation I had though was just like loss of time and some experiences. And this message about the pyramids.
Okay. So, number one, a couple things just hit me when you said the two, the end, blah, 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 and it creates the third.
Yes.
Esoteric title is The Child of the Great Transformers.
The child is created. Yes.
Yeah, of the Great Transformers, the transformational love. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it hit me when you were talking about the dry, arid, that maybe that is a personal message, or you could take it on a bigger level, but the aridness that you may be feeling, and this river that is going through it to something that's more built up, more city-like, more, something.
Go with the flow message.
Go with the flow
Get
message.
out of it'll take you out of your dry environment, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
To something more fertile, more active, more honors, more.
Which this path will do, because it's a path of letting go of and transforming. So you're transforming from the dry, arid area to the more lush. So you could take it on a couple of different levels. That's just what occurred to me when you were talking about it. Wow.
Okay. Do you remember anything? Do you have an experience of sorts?
I completely lost track of time and space. I was in sort of semi-darkness, and a hand reached out for me from the darkness and said, "Come with me." And I took the hand, and what it ended up being was me chatting to a bunch of people who crossed over. And so it was a really personal experience.
People you know, or people,
people I know. Yeah. And before, like as we were going into meditation, I felt the room kind of darken and just become kind of enclosed. And everything was so quiet. Not even the cats made any noise, if you noticed. Like,
it was very quiet.
It was so quiet. And it was as if I was encapsulated, like as if I were somewhere else. I wasn't here. And that's all I kind of recall is talking to these people. Until the bell went.
Okay.
Until the bell rang. But it was a lot of just personal messages there about the teachings of this card to be able to move forward and accomplish. I needing to let go of what's holding me back, and just talking with these people that are still here. And there was a couple more that were joining, but then you rang the bell, and so I'll have to go back and visit. But it was, yeah.
And I'd like to do this again when I'm less tired as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Let's do that again. Yeah.
Now we got 2 we got to do again because we got yes on to do again as well.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well,
and maybe
I think
next
that's...
time I can bring my dragon skull in.
Yeah, for sure. Do that. Okay, well, everybody.
Thank you. Hope you had a good experience for yourselves.
If you feel like sharing, let us know.
Or any questions about your meditation or anything.
Let us know. And I think we'll go on to Messenger now. There is a group called Magic Class, and we'll be on there, and we'll check in there and see if anybody
and
else
it's easy
is
to get invited to that if you want to be involved in chat directly through that.
Okay.
Just
Talk to you
have
next
to
time.
let us know to invite you.
Bye.
Bye.